So if you've ever had a great idea before and you knew it was a good idea and you wanted to pursue that and you're like, this is it, this is the future, I could see something amazing happening out of this, and you take the first step and you're like, okay, I'm enjoying it, and whatever the next thing is that you have to do, it took a little bit more effort to do that next thing, right? Because the magic of the thought starts to dissipate. Thought and action are two very different things. The thought of something, it just turns the dopamine tap on, and it feels great. It feels good. That's what dopamine is. The not the reward receptor. It is the anticipation receptor. Most people get that mixed up. They think it's dopamine is the reward. It's not. Dopamine is what makes you take action right before you do what it is to get the reward. And so the thought is very enticing, very enjoyable. But once you start doing the work, when discipline is required, when things get difficult, that is what it's all about. If you're ever to achieve the vision that the dopamine allowed you to have. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Why, we have the information. So why is it so hard for us to do the things that brings us what it is that we want in life? And we're going to discuss that today. Right before we started the episode, I said 90% of people struggle with this. And Sean is not in that 90% of people. Like, he just doesn't have the emotional, well, I don't feel like doing it today, so I won't. If he's got it written down, he does. He just does it, whether he feels like it or not. And that is a surefire way to 100, like to get the results that you want. And for me, I know this equation, and it's always a battle for me. If I don't do this, I don't feel like doing it. And in the past, I have been swayed so many ways left and right. And in my personality type, I'm a 3, I'm an achiever. And so luckily that helps me pursue what I want, and I get what I want if the vision's there and I know I need to do what I need to do to have that. But if that vision's not strong enough to achieve that, then it could be a time cost. And I've learned that about myself. So I've really honed in on, you can't listen to your feelings right now. You got to make it happen. You got to do it. And so we're going to discuss that in detail today. The outcome of this episode is hopefully you'll have some not just inspiration, but some things that you can think about yourself where you're struggling, and where can you know where you're feeling like not doing something, remove that and do what you know you should do or need to do. And that will start moving the needle in your life. So that's what this one's going to be about today. And Sean, take it away, man. What would you want to add on to that?
Man, beautifully. That's a beautiful intro, by the way. You must have done this a couple of times.
It's coming from the heart.
Yeah, I love it. It is, man. You hit the nail right on the head. Two things that came to my mind was, one is when we have these feelings, one of the things that, it's like sometimes it can be like a roller coaster, right? It's like, I don't feel like it today. I don't feel like it this morning. And that can be for a number of reasons. But I heard this recently, and I used to practice this a lot with meditation, is when your feelings pop up, right? It's like, I don't feel like doing this, or I feel down, or I feel whatever it may be, whatever the feeling is that day, lonely, tired, stuck. Look at it as a cloud, right? Sometimes these thoughts and these feelings, look at it as a cloud. And what happens when you look at clouds? They pass by, or they pop away. So a lot of times we can stay on these feelings for an hour, for a day, for a week, and it can really set you back. It can really hinder, your performance and your goals and what you're trying to do. And so for me, it's like when I feel this way, I address it. Okay, I'm lonely, hungry, tired, fatigued, whatever it may be. And I try to be intentional about, this is my feeling. Okay, cool. Let me remove myself. Look at this guy, or look at this cloud. It's just going to pass. It's going to pass, right? Tomorrow's a new day. That's one of the things that helps me in these feelings. Now, I'm being completely transparent. You said I'm in the part of the 10% club, right? Outside of that 90%. And here's the fact behind the matter. It's a fact. I'm a human being, and human beings can be lazy. I'm freaking lazy, man. I am lazy, dude.
It's crazy to hear you say it.
I'm an introvert. I'm lazy. I could go and sit on the couch for the next 8 hours and watch Netflix, and I'd probably be okay doing that, right?
Wow. Yes.
I know that's maybe a shocker.
I love to hear it. I'm sure everyone else is loving to hear it too, because of what you're about to say. I can't wait to hear it.
However, that is because like you said, my vision and my why and my purpose and who I'm wanting to become is more important to me than I want to breathe, right? And so for me, the discipline is tied to that. Who do I need to become today? What action steps, what activities do I need to take today to get to where I want to go? What discipline, what activity, what habits do I need to put in place? Because here's the thing, because I'm the human being that is freaking lazy, that would love to sit on the couch for the next 7 days or not do a podcast or run a business or send an email or make a sale or show up to the gym because of my feeling, right?
Yeah.
I have to have this discipline in play. That's the only separator, is the discipline to do the things when I don't want to do it.
Mm.
And that is a lot of time. A lot of time, my feelings are I'm hungry, lonely, tired, hangry, fatigued. I don't know about you listening to this, but there is so much going on in this world, right? With the economy, with the food that we put in our body, with stress, anxiety. The feelings are all over the place. And if you don't have that in control, if you don't have the tools to be able to manage that, to be able to be mindful and self-aware of that, and I've been that guy, I've stared myself in the mirror, dude, I tell you right now, that is existing. That is the rat race. That is an unfulfilled life. If I can be intentional and be mindful and be aware of my feelings, look at it from a cloud standpoint, look at it from, hey, these feelings will pass, then I can do the controllables, which is the discipline to do the things that I need to do and who I need to become in my daily basis. So it can be a great idea all day long, Ewan. It can be a great idea to go to the gym. It can be a great idea to start that business. It can be a great idea to make that phone call to the customer. It can be a great idea to go run a marathon, to travel the world, to travel to a place you've never been. But unless that idea, 5 minutes later, you get a phone call saying, hey, I need to cancel my order and your sale dropped. What's your feeling right there? Stress, anxiety. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm not getting the commission or whatever, right? Or you get terminated from your job. What is that feeling? We all get hit with these feelings. So if you lack the discipline to continue to move forward, then myself, I stop and go sit on the couch. So the discipline is the only thing that keeps me going, because I can have ideas all day long, but because I put the discipline in place and tie it to the North Star, dude, that's how you keep moving that ball. That's how you keep moving that, I call it the needle. So you keep moving the needle, right? 0.01% every single day. And so that's that's what's really helped me out over the last several years. That's taken me a long time to learn. You know?
Would you say also the momentum has built upon itself of you continuously doing that? It's maybe easier is not the right term, but you've built the rut of executing. Okay, like when you first have that, whatever, you didn't have the discipline that you needed, and it was hard that first time to push through that feeling to get what it is you've done. But after you've done it so many times for years and years, you see the results. It's almost like a muscle. Would you say it's a muscle for you that you're able to flex, or is it equally as hard as, you know, before you'd really honed in on doing it?
Yeah, man, it's a habit, right? It's a positive habit that when you implement this positive habit aligned with that discipline, for me, it's you see the progress and you see the results. Well, us as human beings, we love progress. We love seeing results. So that could be a sale, that could be an email back from, you know, that could be retention in your business, or new business growth, or downloads on a podcast, or you're crossing that finish line at the marathon. Those are not only life experiences, but those are progress, those are results, those are outcomes. So we love seeing that. Even if you don't receive that, even if you didn't cross the finish line at the marathon and you bonked and you didn't hit the sub 4 hours, or you didn't get the sale, or you went to the gym, but you ended up overtraining like I did this morning, 90 minutes later, not carving up and not filling up enough, and you end up with a migraine, and then you have to, that's another thing. This morning, went to the gym, trained hard with my wife. She invited me to go do a workout with her, 90 minutes. I usually fast for a 60-minute workout. I didn't fuel properly, and I still make mistakes. I'm a human being. We shoot podcasts on Tuesdays. We fire it up at 7:45 a.m., and all of a sudden, boom, my eyes start going blurry. I'm like, dude, this is a freaking migraine because I overtrained and I didn't fuel properly. Now, the lazy part of me would have been like, dude, I'm going to go sit in the bed for the rest of the afternoon. And you even told me, you're like, let's postpone this till Friday. That didn't even cross my mind.
Mm.
The lazy person, Sean, would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's postpone, right? The lazy human being in me. But because of the discipline, because of the willpower that we're talking about, I was like, nope, 30 minutes, that's all I need. Went in there, shut my eyes, put some cold pack on my head, fueled properly, ate a banana, and then some electrolytes, came back, ready to go. Here we are, 2 hours later. So because of the discipline, because of the willpower, we kept moving forward. We kept doing those things. And so for me, I may not be at optimal levels, but I'm still going to show up at 85%, 90%, wherever I can. I'm going to lay it all on the playing field. And so to me, that's what you tie that habit of consistently doing the discipline, that the positive habits, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if I would have said, yeah, man, let's postpone till Friday, where else is that showing up? Right? The discipline, the willpower is out the window. To me, that's the same thing. That's saying the same thing as somebody that I'm pushing to run a mile that says, nope, I'm throwing in the towel. I can't run the mile. I stop. And they walk away and they leave. You're quitting, right? You're postponing the inevitable.
It's postponing.
Me, I'm like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to crawl. You remember at High Rocks, what happened? Yeah. That lady cramped up on the relay race at the very end.
That was unbelievable to watch.
Unbelievable. But she kept moving forward because of the training, because of the discipline, because of the willpower. And so how you do one thing is how you do everything. So and that's the way I look at it, is like, okay, what is the appropriate amount of time if something happens like this morning where I can readjust and continue to move forward, based on the situation right now. So I'm rambling on.
No, dude, I love that, man. And I think it's important for people to probably pinpoint what areas are they struggling in, because we're all disciplined in somewhere. Like everybody has discipline somewhere that they continuously do. Probably don't even know they do it. Yeah. But where is the areas? Because someone might be really good at fitness, right? Like they might be good at showing up to the gym. Like I have no problem showing up to the gym. To me, it's like, I know it's going to get done. Like that once I've committed, marathon, I don't think I missed a single training day. Like I know there's a mission there. But then when it comes to doing a mundane task of like logging a call, it's like pulling teeth. It's awful. My brain does not switch on. And it just is so frustrating. And it would be so easy to put it off. And I've been training myself, like hard training. Like the marathon was a piece of cake compared to turning my brain on to do a mundane task. But I know it needs to be done. And so the conversation in my head here recently has just been, it doesn't matter. It's a to-do. And you do it. You just do it. And also the consequence, like I think a lot of people, they are motivated to, we think we're motivated by the outcome, like to achieve, to have something. But we're way more motivated for is to the fear of loss, losing what it is that you already have. So to me, I feel I've tied in that if I don't do these things, I'm going to lose what I have. And then I get more motivated. Like that's a little hack that I've been using here recently, like depending on what the thing is. Like if it's something I really want, big idea, and I want that to happen, I'm definitely pulled towards that. But if it's a mundane thing that just, I don't see the purpose behind it, but I know it's required. I do have to push myself as opposed to pulled by motivation. So, I think they did a study and it was, Andy Elliott, you were just talking about, he had a guy on stage and he said, okay, you want to make $360,000 a year, or $365. I think he made it rounded up because it was $365,000 a year. And And he said, so you're going to have to show up to make these 6 to 8 calls every day. That's your ratio to get to 365. And he said, are you willing to do it? And it was kind of wishy-washy conversation. He's like, okay, let's look at it like this. The start of the year, I'm going to give you $365,000. You will now, every time you don't make those calls, I'm going to take money, that 365, you're going to be down to 360, 355. Then every time you don't make these calls, you're going to lose that money. So by the end of the year, you could be down to zero if you don't do anything. And so the whole room, even the guy upstairs, is like, no, I'm making the calls. I'm not losing what I've got. So it's just a tweak in the mind, right?
Yep.
Like
that's right.
You have to think, okay, what am I losing by not doing this? Like if you envisioned yourself, let's say it was a fitness thing and you were in great shape, and when you eat that thing, you just took a slice away from that envision of your perfect body or whatever, or if it was your finances and you're just blowing money and you had that X amount, or relationship, putting time and energy into the relationship. I'm going to do this instead of that. I'm going to lose that vision of what it could be. To me, that's helps my discipline. It helps me hone in, helps me focus and do, because the consequences are dire. I don't want to loss. I don't want to lose. And yeah, I don't know if you resonate with that, but yeah, Andy Elliott just mentioned that, and I was like, I do that. I've done that a lot recently.
Another one
is all
that
emotional, you know.
It is, man. Another one that resonates with me is eliminating distractions. I think this is a huge one.
Yes.
A lot of times there's just so much going on in the world with kids, family, and these different areas of life. And so if you don't have these time slots, these time blocks to be able to eliminate the distractions, to get things done, to have the willpower and the discipline to do it, and then finding out what time of day you best show up to maximize that willpower, right? And so for me, it's like, if I'm trying to get something done in the evening time from 3 to 6 p.m., I'm not putting my highest priorities at that time, because dude, on a scale of 1 to 100, I'm maybe at a 30 or 40 by then. So I try to not only that's kind of run those together. It's like prioritize my day. That's going to set me up to maximize my not only willpower, but the discipline to do the things that I know I need to do, because that's going to go down in the evening time, because I am fatigued, I am tired. So, I mean, you're really I'm really fighting it in the evening time. And so I know I have to set that up for the morning time. And the same thing with distractions. If I'm sitting here with my phone, if I'm sitting here with my door wide open, my dog's coming in and out, if I'm sitting here with our Yuffie, the shark that cleans the floor, that's going off, all these little things are distractions. They're noise. They're behind the scenes. And so it's really hard. It just makes it that much harder to have that willpower, to have that discipline to do those things. And so I think eliminating distractions and then prioritizing what it is, where you are optimal, where you feel the best, to knock out those priorities. Because like you said, building that momentum, building that confidence, you can only stack that. I mean, you're just stacking it brick by brick, And
it's an identity thing. If you think about that, I think a lot of people, and myself included, if I was to think back, like when I don't do the things that I know I should have done, it goes one way or the other. You don't get to be neutral on this. If you don't do it, you just put a coin in the bank of, I'm not the kind of person that can do that right now. I will put it off. I'll do it tomorrow when I feel like it. And then tomorrow comes and you still don't feel like it. So you're waiting. You're at the whim of, well, just whenever it gets done, whenever you do get that burst of motivation, but that's not good enough. It's not consistent enough you have to have consistent results. And so to get results, you have to have that consistency. So that's why you have to be able to push past the feelings. But it happens quickly when you start doing just one or two things that you normally would have waited to do. And you find that discipline to do them, you do feel an uptick. You feel better about yourself. And it's because you did put a coin in the bank of, I'm a doer. I can get this done. And it does snowball. And that's a little lifeline there for people who feel like, man, well, it's hard to not eat the candy or the cookie, and planning that out and attaching it to the outcomes of what you want for your life. It also ties in like good sleep habits and eating. A lot of people are like, well, it's so much effort to get good sleep and to eat well. But when you tie that into discipline, it's a huge tie right there. Your discipline is directly correlated with how you sleep and what you eat. Because if if discipline is about pushing past the feeling and you don't feel like doing it right now, your decision control, your management of what you do is based off of the chemicals in your body. And if you sleep well, you really do have a stronger sense of being able to push through. Same with fueling well. If you eat the right things, it's supposed to, if you eat junk and don't sleep well, your discipline goes out the window. Like we can all attest that we're all human beings. We all felt it, but we don't really hone in on that. Like we really don't. And it's a direct correlation with how you want your life to look. Like if there's an outcome
100%.
or achievement you want to have, man, what's that one cookie? Today's just one cookie. But if you're doing it all the time, like that's really impeding you from making good decisions, being disciplined, and having the things that you want. And it's all the tiny things. The tiny things play a huge part.
Man. It's the micros. I mean, it really is. That compounds. Yeah. It's not what happens today. It's not what happens the next week. It's not what happens next month. It's what happens when you continuously do that over the next 6 months. And so that's why I always look at it as like the road most traveled, the road less traveled. The road most traveled is I'm eating the cookies, the pizzas. I'm not working out. I'm not doing the things that's going to move the needle. Or, okay, cool. Those are because I'm typically I'm an emotional eater. So I have to really challenge myself. Like if I'm like feeling down and it's in the evening time and I'm stressed out, and I'm like, dude, I just want a pizza. I just want a cookie. Those where I have to be really intentional. And it's a struggle, man. It is very hard to me. And so, I'm the type of guy, it's like, all right, well, I may fold. And if I do fold, then I pull back. I come to my 80-20 rule because I'm imperfect, just like anybody listening to this. Yeah. But I think that's how you get knocked down, right? Because we all have those days. But what is the ratio? Is it flipped? Maybe you're doing 20% whole foods and 80% just eating like crap, not getting to sleep, horrible diet. Well, you need to look at that. How can you adjust that, right? And flip that to 80 whole foods, 80% like you're consistently getting sleep, 80% of the time you're aware of your feelings. You're looking at it from a cloud, like, oh, this is, Sean, you're feeling like this right now. You're tired. You're fatigued right now on this podcast. You may not sense it. You may not feel it, but if I'm on a scale of 1 to 100 right now, I'm at a 30 right now. Like I feel like a turd.
Hard today, man. You pushed it hard.
I feel like a turd right now. I do, but I'm going to continue to show up. Right. And so for me, that is the discipline. That is because it's the bigger purpose. It's the vision. It's what I need to do and the things, the activities, the actions on who I need to become. Now,
it's great for the audience to hear that, man, because it's just so relatable. It's like, this is what it looks like. Yeah. Because it's hard to, you have a vision in your mind. Well, it's like some person like, pulling themselves up the side of a mountain. Well, it's not. That's not what discipline is or hard work. It's, well, I don't feel like doing the podcast, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't feel like calling the customer, but I got to call them. Yes. If I want this result, I have the choice to not. And if I don't, then I'm just going to get more of what I've had before. And if I really am truly honest and want what I want, then I've got to make this call.
And by doing that right there, Ewan, by doing what Ewan just said right there, that is how you strengthen your discipline and your willpower.
That's success.
That's success. By doing the things when you don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyways. That is how you build that backbone. That is how you show up when you don't feel like showing up. That's it. That's the key ingredient. We don't need to keep going on this podcast. You take the action, you do the activity, you create the positive habit, you're intentional, eliminate the distractions.
Created the self-identity.
Oh, I didn't die.
I did it.
Did Sean survive the podcast when he felt like crap? Yes, he did.
And
did he lay it on the playing field? Yes.
You probably feel a little bit better by at least accomplishing, right? Like it's
100%.
Because there's a version of you that like, man, okay, I'm not going to do it. Man, you would not be satisfied with that version of you, So even though you might have even drained more energy doing it, there's still that the spiritual bump.
Yeah. And that's what that's what it comes down to is doing the things when you don't feel like doing, you do it anyways. Now, if this shows up, if this continues to show up every podcast, every time we shoot something like this or the different areas of life, like, why do I continue to show up? Then I need to reflect on that.
Yes.
I need to be mindful about that.
Otherwise it's punishment.
Exactly. It's just punishment. And you're really going to go backwards in that case. But I know this is kind of one of those 80-20 things. Like, hey, you know what? 80% of the time, I'm ready to dominate. I'm feeling good. Let's rock and roll. I'm prioritizing podcasts from 7:45 to 10 a.m. with guests, with Ewan, and this is my optimal levels. Boom. Let's go. We're crushing it. We're dominating. And then days like today, I know that 20% is going to show up, but I could have folded. I could have said, nope, let's postpone. But that version of Sean, I'm not happy with. Yeah. I know I can do something about it. I just need a 30-minute break. Let's get back at it. Whereas, like you said, the 90% of the population is doing what you said. Like, you know what? I'm going to give it a couple days. And then in a couple days, guess what? You procrastinate. You get paralyzed. And
it's on your mind the whole time. You're carrying it with you for those days. You're taking that, I still need to get that done.
Yep.
And that's a bag that you're carrying because you still have to do all the other things you were going to do anyways.
Yep.
But now that it's done, you don't carry that with you until Friday, which is weight. It's almost an emotional weight.
100%.
As you knock things off, as you get them done, you stay light. You know, that's another thing I'd probably say. I feel it's almost a physical lightness. Man, that's off my plate. I did it. I just pushed through and got it done. As opposed to tomorrow, I'm carrying that with me. I'm just adding it to the stack of bricks of all the other tomorrows. You know?
Yes. Oh, dude, that's it. Go back and listen to this episode again because pure gold.
I'll put this one on. You know, if I'm not feeling it, I'll put this on and just realize, it's not impossible. It's just doing it. Just do it, man. The Nike site, the Nike.
Just do it.
Just do it, man.
Dude, this has been a masterclass on willpower and discipline. So you can have the idea, you can talk about it all day long, but be about it, do about it, show up, take action, right? Even when you don't feel like it. And watch that freaking backbone, watch that discipline, watch that willpower. And
that's how the thought becomes reality.
Yes, the thought becomes reality. Yeah. Beautiful, man.
Level up and live.
Level up and live.